Hey, what's up guys? And first of all, there's a new poll over an anime symbol. Link will be in description, so go ahead and vote on that, guys. So yeah, today I'm going to be giving you a brand new part 9 of What If Naruto Was half Viltrumite and half Kryptonian. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And don't forget to go ahead and destroy that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. The link for the other channels will be down in the description. Anime King 2, Anime King, and Anime Symbol. So go ahead, check them out, and yeah, enjoy. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. So the last spot we left off, we were in the final battle that would decide it all between Naruto and Yujito. As everyone was there to witness this, majority of them had already seen that Konoha had a boy that was able to take on a Jinchuriki, and now she was drawing more on the power as she was getting stronger and stronger. Things were revving up as Naruto had to face off against a full-blown tail beast. It was majority larger than him. However, Naruto wasn't one to just back down, no matter the situation. Things got bad as the kryptonite seemed to react with the tail beast, causing it to get a bluish, greenish glow. As Naruto had to back away, he was getting more hurt than he's ever gotten in his entire life, as he was being knocked around and slammed to the wall. A moment there it seems like he would have lost until he could hear his family cheering him on. And Naruto smashed the ground with such force. He used the force to fly forward as he delivered a brutal punch that knocked her straight up in the air. He then pushed all of his might that he had in his weakened body in that fist as he dropped it. It slammed right into the tail beast, knocking her out instantly. As Naruto was declared the winner before he collapsed face first, the audience exploded in cheers. That was one of the most intense fights many of them has ever seen in their entire life. It was nothing but epic. We then skip forward a few years. A man that was a doctor in his past life, he was now a drug expert, as he was trying to push a narcotic inside of the elemental nation. However, it was stopped by none other than Naruto. Something strange happened though, as Naruto had changed much in the last couple of years, taller, more mature, as he has aged quite well. However, he came across a woman with orange hair. She called herself Poison Ivy, and her roots, they were actually able to hurt him, as Naruto realized that there were small particles of kryptonite in it. That is what he started to call the rock, kryptonite. The thing that made him feel weak, the only thing that did that in this world. Something was wrong, as this woman had no such powers before. However, now she was different, and she was working with this scientist because she wanted something from him. As she attacked Naruto, she even released a poisonous gas as it started to affect him badly. However, he used his heat vision on her, knocking her away. It wounded her badly as she retreated, the vines and trees coming to her aid. As Naruto then finished off the doctor, he coughed up hard as he collapsed on the ground. His cells inside working overtime to get rid of the poison toxin out of his system. Sooner than later, he was back on his feet. Much has changed in the past couple of years. For one, Danzo had not made a move. Instead, Danzo was actually trying to, befriend Naruto by showing him things that needed to be stopped. As at first Naruto did not trust him in the slightest, but his information had led Naruto to stop a lot of bad people that wished to infiltrate and harm the land of fire, something that he would not allow. That was not the only big change. His relationship with Lucy had gotten a lot better, as both of them had taken it to another step as they were dating. And tonight was something tremendously special. Later, that is. As Naruto had returned back home, both him and Lucy made their way on a date, as Naruto brought her somewhere. Flying through the air, this had been a common occurrence. Tonight was more special than any other night. As they slept together for the first time, it was something truly magical between them. Their relationship had gotten a lot better over the past couple of years. Their parents had spoken to one another and getting to know each other, and they fully approve of this relationship, as both of their children were just a delight to them. However, there were secrets that Naruto could not afford anyone to find out. The things that he has done to make sure that his precious people would be kept safe no matter what. As Naruto returned back home, his sister had grown as she was much more different now, as Naruto made fun of her not, begging him to spend time with her anymore, as she has grown up. However, she was quite upset about all the D-rank missions, as she really and truly hated them. Some time passed as it was finally her time, as she would be going on a C-rank mission. She was placed in a team with Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno, as her mother couldn't help but worry. Despite knowing that this is what they've been preparing her for, she couldn't help but worry. But Naruto knew that she would be fine out there, as this was her first mission, as he told her to be safe. So with that, she headed off. However, they were not the only changes that had taken place over the past 3 years. Orochimaru could not find a way to replicate the DNA that he found. However, he had a good idea who it was from, and that was none other than the invincible son of the 4th Hokage. He might be strong, but Orochimaru was sure that Doomsday would be able to kill him when the times arrived. However, in the past couple of years, a few people had been affected by the meteorite. It had corrupted and twisted their chakra into something abnormal, giving them abnormal abilities. Orochimaru had befriended and gathered a few of them, as they were now loyal to him. The first one was Carmelian. He could reflect the light around him, making his body become invisible. A rather nifty trick. It was amazing for sneaking around and gathering things without being seen. The next one was a girl. Her name was Jump. Orochimaru gave them names towards their ability, which he told them to embrace as it was a part of them. She could teleport. Any place that she's been before, she could teleport there. It might not be the strongest ability, but it was amazing. The next one was a boy. His name was Electro. He had control over all kinds of electricity. He was vastly powerful. The last one had a mimicry ability. Orochimaru called it mimicry. He could mimic any ability like the Sharingan, as he could also define into the task of mimicking a Keiki Genkai. Orochimaru was sure that there was a few others out there. As for Doomsday, he might have to kill him when the time is right, because the boy was becoming more unstable when he transformed. His loyalty was not there when he was in the beast form. He slaughtered everything around him. And the past couple of years, the universe had been vast, but the Viltrumites are closing in. Very soon they will be in the Elemental Nation. So yes, a lot of problem was coming for Naruto. Poison Ivy, Orochimaru, the Viltrumites. There was a lot of problems coming his way. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the play structure for yourself. So this way we jump right into this brand new episode begin. Now guys, we begin this episode with Minato Namikaze as he sat at his desk. He has been getting some strange reports. Several areas, within and without, the Fire Nation has been getting attacked. That would be normal, however, it was the way they were getting attacked. Some have opted to say that they saw the Mokiton in action. Something that has been gone since the first Hokage. There was only one person that had that ability that Minato knew of, and that was because of an experiment. So he was rather surprised to what he heard, as he wasn't expecting this in the slightest. He was confused. The reports say that plants and trees has been attacking several hard-working business and has been destroying the areas. However, most of the attacks having to do with the businesses that dealt with chemicals. Minato had been opted to send out a group of shinobi as he was waiting back for a report to find out what truly was going on with these strange attacks. He was sure that Yamato was not the one behind this, so he was curious himself to who else had control over plants and trees. Yes, he was very curious indeed, as he turned his gaze towards a few papers to his right. The medical program in Konoha was not as strong as it once was. Minato had believed that, given her time, that she would eventually come back, that she will find what she was looking for, and understand that this was her home. However, that seems not to be the case in the slightest. That is why he had sent Naruto out to find her, her being none other than Tsunade Senju. The village needs to push support towards a medical program once again. They have been lacking in talented medics over the past few years. The ones that they had could do the bare minimum, yes, but only the more advanced ones that were in the hospital, and they were not field medics, and that was bad for the ninjas out there that get wounded or hurt on the missions. There has been a lot of reports about wounded ninjas, and the medical program was not as strong as it was back then, and that was because Tsunade Senju was here, and he needed her to return back to the village. He had been going through some of Sarutobi's files. Some files in the past, it turns out that Tsunade had opted for a medical program. However, it had been denied because of the warring state. However, things were different, and he was willing to put some money into this function that she wanted to form. It would do great for Konoha, he thought. Jiraiya was busy working on something else, so he sent Naruto to go and find her. The recent information that they had on her at the moment was lacking. However, if anyone could, Naruto could. After all, unlike majority of the ninjas, he could fly. And he also had super hearing as well, and his X-ray vision. That made him very good at finding people. And he can also be very persuasive. However, with what Naruto had, after Minato had spoken to him, he doubted that Tsunade was going to deny returning back to the village. Time skip. Screams could be heard, as she was not even walking on the ground. The plants were carrying her. It was poison ivy. As her hair swayed with the wind, she glided across the ground like a goddess, making her way towards her destination. As her plants viciously ripped apart all the people in her wake. She had been trying to save the ozone, trying to save the planet. All of these businesses and fake companies and their leaders who has nothing to do but gain money and use their wealth to corrupt the world even more. They had stained Mother Nature. They had stained the very soil of this world. The power that was imbued through her would not allow her to rest. It was her whole ideal. When she was younger, before she got her abilities, she was always a sweet, kind young girl. However, she loved nature. She loved the embodiment of nature itself. She always wanted to keep it safe and protected, as it always felt blessed. She felt chosen when she was given these abilities. It's almost like she was chosen by some unseen force to protect the world and to keep it safe from these animals. As her plants, vicious and deadly, tore through the entire facility that she was in. Just another global problem that would drive the elemental nation into nothingness. And she would not allow it. She was going to return majority of the world to what it was before shinobis and mankind start to pollute, start to use lands that did not belong to them, before they start to use forests, before they start to cut down and destroy forests to build things that would just turn around to hurt nature itself. She slammed her hands together as her entire body started to glow green when she was hit by that damn invincible boy. She almost died. It was the first time that she ever got hurt like that, and since then her body had become more susceptible to nature. She adapted. She now knew how to channel her power with greater ease. As she released it, the whole place came trembling and breaking down as she heard the screams of the dead. As far as she cares, all of them were guilty. She never said that she was a good person. The only thing she cared about was protecting this world from these animals. As she walked out, like nothing had just occurred even after the massacre. That is when she heard clapping. As she turned her gaze to see someone lean up against a tree, his dark hair resting down on his back, his golden eyes looking at her with interest and a little bit of excitement. She was not sure who he was. Whoever he was, if he tried anything, it will end in his death. She walked, completely ignoring him. She had other places to be. He slipped in front of her like a snake. It's not very kind to just ignore someone like that. He said to her, I would suggest that you move, or you might not live past this day. As he smirked, do you know who I am? He asked her. No. And why should I? Well, I've gotten a vested interest in you that I just can't seem to shrug, he said. But let me introduce myself first. I am Orochimaru. She raised her eyebrow. The Sani. Exactly. It's good that you heard of me, he said to her. Now, as to why I've gotten a vested interest in you, it's quite simple. I believe that you are one of the chosen ones. She raised her eyebrow to that. Excuse me? You heard what I said. Recently, a few people have been developing strange unnatural abilities due to these green rocks. One of them that is now partnering with me. When she touched it, she said that she heard a word in her mind. It's hard to explain, but I believe these rocks are known as kryptonites. And they're not even from this world, he said to her with a smile. Her face expression did not change as she simply stood there. And I believe you were also infected by those to gain these unnatural abilities as well. I've been keeping my eye out, and once I got some information about you. I have been watching you for the longest time now, so I decided to finally make my move. To what? She said. For me to join you? Well, I believe that the both of us working together can see us both achieving what we desire. I'm not sure what you're after, however, I'm a very resourceful man, and if you tell me, it can be easily accomplished. She laughed. Yes, she laughed right in his face, a reaction that he was not expecting. Sanin or not, I don't even care, she said. I wasn't infected by any rocks. These powers were gifted to me by Mother Nature herself. This earth has made me its champion, and that is why I will purify it by eliminating anyone that wished to cause it harm. I will do whatever it takes. And right now, I'm not interested in your partnership, and I've already told you to move. And seeing that you did not take my warning, before Orochimaru could react, the ground exploded as the man was skewered several times by spikes that had came out of it. However, his body melted away into mud so fast, she heard as she turned to see him standing there. Quite faster than I expected, he said. The smile was still on his face. As she sent her hand out towards him, hundreds of vines erupted from the ground. Orochimaru had to leap and jumped away, dodging and evading. He was forced to regurgitate his Kusanagi blade and slice through several of them. A thick branch came out as he sliced into it, however, the blade did not go all the way through. It was so thick and strong. That is when he was stabbed through the shoulder. The Sannin was surprised. The ground behind him split open as hundreds of vines shot towards his back. Orochimaru used his blade and forced it to fly away. He then switched with it as he reappeared where it was. He then recalled his blade back to him and severed all the branches coming towards him. This time, he enhanced his blade with chakra. He flipped away from her as she looked towards him with a snarl. As her plant lifted her up in the air, she held her hand out to the sky. The ground started to rumble and tremble. Orochimaru could feel the unnatural power resonating from her. A green cloak started to surround her body as she was pulling on the natural energy. The Sannin was surprised as he could tell that this was nature energy. However, the quantity was so vast and so large, it caught him off guard. Orochimaru decided to stay back for now as he proceeded to flee away. She calmed down as she released the energy after sensing to make sure that he was gone. Reappearing a far distance away, Orochimaru had an amused look on his face. She was far more interesting than the others, far more powerful as well. He never came here to fight, and besides, he didn't want to kill her. However, experimenting on her would prove to be better than experimenting on the others. The little group that he was building of these super-powered individuals were coming along well. These four that he already had trust him completely. However, she already had her mind set on something, so, well, he could pick her apart piece by piece. But not yet, as he opened his palm to show a piece of root that he had sliced off. He was going to examine it. It couldn't just be nature energy alone, because it felt much more. And he was curious. With that, the Sannin fled, as Poison Ivy made her way off, not thinking anything more than just a random attack and the coward that ran away. As she went about her day like nothing just happened, she had other things to do after all. Meanwhile that was going on, Naruto was flying through the sky, as his eyes were looking downwards, surveying the area, as he was going towards the information that he just received on the last known whereabouts of the legendary sucker. Quite a name it was. However, it was because of her bad luck. Despite her love in gambling, it turns out that she really sucked at it. As Naruto made his way, it has been a few weeks since he ran into that Poison Ivy woman. So far, she was the only person that ever saw him in his nightly activities and got to get away and saw his face. She know who he is. He has also been searching for her, cleaning up his mess of being seen, but she was nowhere to be found. However, he has not heard anything on her, so maybe he was getting a bit of good luck and she had just gone away. He can't afford for anything to ruin everything right now. His sister had finally become a ninja, which she wanted. He was proud of her. His mother and father were happy. Things were good in the village. Danzo was not a dangerous threat at the moment, despite not trusting him. The man wanted Konoha protected, and Naruto has already shown that he would go above and beyond to keep the village safe. And besides, things with Lucy couldn't even be more great. He knew that he was young, but the feelings that he had for her was extremely strong. As Naruto descended, he landed out of the outskirts of the village and made his way. There was a festival going on. This village was coming for their celebration, and from what he had heard, there was 3 casinos here and around several bars. so he just had to check. As Naruto made his way around, the place was pretty big. He was not in a rush. He was sure that sooner or later he will come across that woman that he was looking for. As he walked around the streets, many people saw him as their eyes were looking at him with surprise and awe, most of them shock. His name had gotten quite large over the past couple of years. One thing, he was Minato's son. The next, the things that he has done as a Jonin of the Hidden Leaf. The strengths that he had shown, the people that he has protected. Yes, his name has gotten quite large. Something that he never really wanted because it drew too many unwanted attention, but things had led to this point and there was nothing that he could do about it. As Naruto was making his way, as someone had called out to him, there has been several names. Superman, Invincible, Unstoppable. Several names that target him for showing absolutely no weakness. As he turned his gaze to look towards a person, someone though was in a rush. As she almost bumped into him, but Naruto turned. She thought that he would be there to cushion her fall, but he had moved so quick. However, Naruto caught her and her pet pig. She quickly started to apologize. "Oh, it's nothing," said Naruto as he settled her back on her feet. "Thank you," she said, "but I have to go." As she ran off. As Naruto raised an eyebrow. Why did she look so familiar, he thought to himself. As he started to walk, it clicked into his head. He remembered the photo that his father had shown him. That was a girl that was with Tsunade. She was younger, but it was definitely her. With that, Naruto made his way after her, wondering if she would lead him right to his target. It did not take too long, as Naruto followed her towards one of the gambling houses. "Tsunade-sama," Shizune said, "You lied to me." Tsunade turned around as she was on one of the slot machines. "I said I was going out to get us breakfast, not coming to gambling, and that was an hour ago." "Well, I got caught up, but it doesn't matter. This is going to win back everything that I've lost." What do you mean everything you've lost?" "Shh," Tsunade said. And she then face faulted, as Shizune looked forward to see. She lost everything. Tsunade turned towards her. "You lost everything?" As Tsunade scratched the back of her head. "Damn it," she said. "I thought today was my lucky day." "When will you learn? When it comes to gambling, you have no lucky days." "Of course I do," she said. "You remember that time you lost?" "But I did. You lost afterwards." "I guess you're right. But it doesn't matter. I'll be up soon enough," Tsunade said with a smile. "As soon as you hand over the money that you have." Shizune stepped back. "You'll just lose it," she said. "Come on, Shizune, don't you trust me? In this? Absolutely not." "Well, maybe I could help." They turned their gaze. "It's you," Shizune said. Tsunade narrowed her gaze. What Shizune had failed to notice was the headband that was tied around his arm. "Konoha," she said, as Naruto saw something in her eyes for a moment. Tsunade narrowed her gaze at him. "Who are you, brat?" she asked. "My name is Naruto Namikaze." "Wait, you're him. I knew I recognized you from somewhere." "Your description is well known," Shizune said. "You're the one that they call the Superman, right? The invincible one." "Well, that is what they say," said Naruto. Tsunade glanced towards him at the corner of her eye. "So what do you want?" she said. "My father wishes for you to return." "Is that so, huh? Well, tell him to go and suck a lemon." As Naruto blinked at that, "Because I'm not returning back to the village." She turned her gaze back towards the machine despite there was no money inside. "I figured that you would not come the easy way after I heard about your reputation." She glanced towards him. What's that supposed to mean? As Naruto stepped forward towards her. "How about a little bet?" She raised her eyebrow. "What bet are you talking about?" As Naruto pulled out a piece of paper with a number written on it. "What's this?" That's how much you're gonna win if you beat me in my little bet. Tuh, you're crazy, said Tsunade. There's no way you will give me this much for a simple bet. Well, given that if you lose, you'll have to come back to Konoha. I'll say it's worth it, said Naruto. As Shizune, Naruto noticed a look in her eyes once again when he mentioned Konoha, but he said nothing about it. She looked towards him. As she looked back at the amount of money that he was willing to offer if he lose. And what's this bet, she asked. An arm wrestling bet, he said to her. Immediately, something flashed through her mind. It was her and the Raikage arm wrestling. And she lost because he cheated using speed. She's heard about this boy and his unusual strength. However, the fact that he knew who she was and challenged her in arm wrestling without battering an eye, even smiling, it made her believe that maybe he's more than she believed to be. As she looked at him, however, the amount of money was so enticing, and besides, she could say that she would do it and then simply run away. He might have been able to find her once, but she doubted that he can do it again that easily. As she looked at him, "You have yourself a deal," she said, shaking his hand. "Alright then," said Naruto. "How about tomorrow morning," he said, "out of the outskirts of this village. I want you to have a good night's sleep. I wouldn't want to say that you were tired from the day's activity." "Tch, cocky little shit, aren't you?" she asked him. "Well, I'm just here to have some fun," he said. "Well, I hope you're gonna have as much fun once you lose," she said to him. "We'll see about that," he said to her. As he waved goodbye, making his way outside, she watched him leave. Shizune stepped up towards her. "Are you sure that was wise? I've known that you heard the rumors about him." "Yes, I have. And if the rumors are correct, then I might be having some trouble. However, I have an idea." As Shizune looked towards her. "What idea?" she asked. Tsunade simply smiled. The next day, as Tsunade and Shizune made their way out, they arrived towards the outskirts, as there was a thick, massive piece of stone there. It seemed to have been shaven down recently, judging by the pieces on the ground. It would be a good resting spot for their hands. As Tsunade stepped forward, she saw the briefcase on the other side. "Is that it?" she said. Naruto opened said briefcase, and inside was the cash that she was promised. She had to say, it would be very good for her to have that, as she could definitely win. With that, there was no doubt about it, she would have to win. Her luck could not be that bad. Shizune stood there with Tauntaun, as Naruto noticed look in her eyes. Once again, he had not said anything about it. Tsunade made her way over. "Well, everything seems up to date," she said. "You really want to do this? That's a whole lot of money." "I should be asking you that, because you know once you lose, I'll be taking you back to Konoha, right? And I don't want you to see this as a punishment and retaliate against me." "Oh, don't worry, kid," she said. "I wouldn't hurt you that badly," she said to him. "However, I am an honorable woman, so let's get this done, shall we?" As Naruto placed his hand on the stone, so did she. The both of them grabbed hands, as Shizune was the one there for the ref. She placed a hand over their hands. "Alright," she said to them. She looked at both of them. She looked longer at Naruto. "Begin!" She was almost thrown away by the force. Tsunade was immediately covered by a strange golden aura as it started to flicker. Tsunade could not budge his hand. She was shocked. As Naruto was smiling at her, there was no aura or nothing around him, he just held her in place. He then started to apply force as she was going down. Tsunade pushed her strength even further. She started to push his hand back. However, he was pushing her hand back with ease once again. The two of them seemed to be locked, but it wasn't that way. Her hand was going down. Damn it, damn it, damn it, she cursed. She then decided to use the trick that the Raikage used on her, as she applied every ounce of strength. The fact that she needed to do this in the first place showed that he was immensely strong. She made him think that she was going all out. When he applied pressure, she released the grip, causing him to bring her hand down, as she had released every ounce. However, at the last moment, she went straight back to 100%. But something wrong happened. Unlike what the Raikage did to her when he had used his speed to overcome her, she had tried to do the same thing, but Naruto slammed her hand through the rock, causing it to explode. Tsunade was baffled. He applied force, genuine actual force, when she went 100% and he still outdrew her. She looked up at him with a new sense of shock, as she couldn't believe it. She had heard the rumor, she heard how strong he was, but this was just insane. Well, said Naruto, dusting off his hand. I guess I won. I guess you did, said Tsunade, as Naruto reached over and picked up the briefcase. And I guess this still belongs to me. I guess it does, she said. I have a few things to finish up, so I'll leave tomorrow, she said. Good, said Naruto. I'll be waiting, he said to her. See you then, as he walked off, all nonchalant like it was nothing. Shizune seemed happy. However, she steeled her features once. Tsunade turned towards her. So, I guess we're going back. What? Of course not. We're just gonna give him enough time to fall asleep then. We're leaving here and not looking back. Oh, Shizune said. Now come on. A distance away, Naruto overheard everything that she said. Later that night, Tsunade was sitting on the roof, as Shizune was in the room, packing their stuff. You know, for a moment there she thought about actually going back. However, the thought was so ludicrous and crazy that she brushed it off the next second, but for a moment there her mind was swayed towards that thought. That is when she felt something as Naruto landed on the roof. You know, I thought you said you were an honorable woman. What are you? So packing up and leaving in the night. You know that's not an honorable thing to do. How did you? She narrowed her gaze towards him. I have really sensitive hearing, said Naruto, as he sat down beside her. So I guess this means we're gonna fight, she said. Fight? Why? Said Naruto. Well, you were given an order to bring me back, and seeing that you won your little bet, you think that I am going to come back with you, but I am not, she said. It doesn't matter if you did win. I take it that would happen. Why did you make the bet then? Just to test something, said Naruto. To see how selfish you were being. What? She said to him. You heard me. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea of what I've been through, so if I were you, what? I would keep my mouth shut, said Naruto. Well, I said you were selfish and I mean it because you are. You want to know why you're selfish? She tried to get up. I don't have to sit here and listen to what you have to say. However, Naruto gripped her hand. She turned her gaze towards him, but he wasn't looking at her. Your apprentice, Shizune. She wants to go home, you know that, right? She looked at him confused. What the hell are you talking about? Shizune is happy where she is. Really now, said Naruto. Spending majority of her time keeping you from going off the edge, going into bars and drinking. You really think that she's happy with that kind of life? Yes, I do, and I know she is. You don't have any idea about anything because you don't know Shizune, and you don't know me. So as I said, if I were you, I would keep my mouth shut, she said. But I do know you, said Naruto. You knew my mother quite well. A look of guilt passed over Tsunade's face. You know, to an extent my mother and you are kind of related, said Naruto. So that kind of make us family in a way. Before taking this mission I spoke to my mother about you, and she understood why you had to leave. She told me that when she was younger, you were there for her. Not many people had liked her back then. She was new, from a different village. Majority of people looked towards her with suspicion. Things were not as peaceful as they are right now. And she had a hard time fitting in. But you were there for her, watching over her, making sure that she was okay. Even though you had no obligation to do so, you just kept an eye out, just keeping a look on her. And for that I am truly grateful. She sees you as family, despite everything. That is why. She had no qualms with you leaving, because she understood your pain. Tsunade was silent as Naruto spoke. She understood that you lost your grandmother, you lost your brother, your entire clan, and the one that you love. I'm not sure if I fully understand what love is, but I have this girl in my life, and the feelings that I feel for her are so great. It's hard to contain most times. So I believe that I might love her, said Naruto. And if anything were to happen to her, I wouldn't be able to handle it that easily. For you to be still going after losing so much, you're actually one of the strongest people that I have come to know. Even though I've just met you, it's hard to lose everything and keep on going. Just the mere thought of that terrifies me, said Naruto. So I can't understand what you're going through. But you don't have to be selfish for the people that you care about. Shizune wants to return home. She missed the village, I can see that. And I know you do too. You might try to act out because of it, but I know you do. But the pain of what you've been through has really placed a hold on you. But just give it a chance. Things are different now. There are countless kunoichis and ninjas that need your help. They're going into the field unprepared. They need medical ninjutsu. They need a teacher. You are right. I saw the proposition that you made back then. It was rather foolish for the leaders back then not to hear you out, because so much life would have been saved if you started your medical program. But my father is not like them. And trust me, he wants you to do this. And the village needs you right now. I know you're hurting. I know you've been through a lot. But being around people that care for you can help you through the most dangerousest times and the most painfulest times. So just give it a chance, okay, said Naruto. With that, I'll be at the outskirts of the village waiting, he said. He flew off, leaving her there. Tsunade was crying. What he said hit her deep and hard. Yes, it brought back so many memories. Memories of Dan, memories of Nawaki, memories of her and Mito, memories of her and Sarutobi. It was hard. Her whole family, everything. She had not been paying attention to how Shizune had been feeling because she has been wallowing in her own self-pity and feelings. However, now that she thinks about it, he was right. The brat was right. And it brought tears to her eyes as she wiped them away. Time skip. The next morning, poor Shizune was struggling with all the luggage, as Tsunade was just holding a bottle of water. As they arrived to the outskirts of the village, Shizune had tried to ask Tsunade last night what was going on, but she wouldn't give her a straight answer. Tsunade did not sleep last night. However, Shizune did get to sleep because She says she changed her mind and they will be leaving in the morning. However, she was not sure what she wanted to do, or what was even going on. Where were they going? She arrived as she saw that Naruto was standing there, hands in his pockets as he was waiting. So, what have you decided, he asked. Shizune got a bit worried as she saw Tsunade taking on a fighting pose. The next thing she knew, she rushed off. Naruto was surprised that she was attacking him. He thought that she would have changed her mind, as her fist was sent straight towards his face. However, he caught it with one hand. She then swung a kick toward his head. He ducked and stepped back. She drove another fist into his face as she kept on swinging. Naruto evaded all of them. He then turned as he drove his fist forward as well. The two of them collided and the area exploded by the force, as their fists was still intertwined, connected together. As Naruto looked at her, "What are you doing?" he said. She pulled back. "I knew it," she said, her face going into a relaxed posture. "Whatever you're doing, it has nothing to do with chakra. Your body does not tense. You do not regulate your strength by using any chakra to amplify it. But this can't be possible. There is no way that you're this naturally strong without any amplifications or boosts," she said in surprise. "So, you were testing me?" said Naruto. "Yes, I was," she said, "because I want to know how are you that strong. I can tell that you're stronger than me just by our little competition. That is something that I've never had to admit before, that someone has surpassed me in strength." As she looked him up and down. "But I guess I will find out soon enough," she said. "Wait, does that mean—" "I make no promises. You said that I should give it a look. So yes, I'm going back to give the village a look." Shizune was over there in a second. "Wait, we're going back to Konoha?" As Tsunade nodded. "Just for a short amount of time," she said, as she glanced towards Naruto. He was all smiles. "Well, let's see if we can change your mind in the time being," he said to her. "I don't think you can," she said with a smirk. "Well, I'll try," said Naruto. "Let me give you a hand there," he said to Shizune, as he helped her with the bags. "Poor thing, how can she be so cruel to you?" "I know," Shizune said. "She can be so wicked sometimes." As the both of them snickered, causing Tsunade to glare at the both of them. Despite not knowing each other for long, they got along rather well. Time skip. Minato was surprised. When he had been thinking it over, he had actually thought that Naruto might forcefully bring Tsunade here, and that would just be more problematic, but he also had great belief that Naruto would be able to sort it out, and there was nothing for him to worry about because, well, she was here. "You seem surprised," said Tsunade as she looked at him. "Well, considering that the mission was your return." She glanced over towards Naruto. "You didn't have to worry. I would have probably broken every bone in his body, but I would heal him up right after." "Tuh, as if," said Naruto. "You want to take this outside, brat," said Tsunade. Over their journey here, the both of them had gotten close. Their little banter, it was amusing. Not to mention him purposely pissing her off, and she punched him in the face. However, that didn't do much good. Shizune had found it amusing. Someone that could actually banter with Tsunade without she worrying for the person's health. "How about I show you around? You've been gone for a long while, and these two can speak," said Naruto. Shizune nodded to him, as Naruto waved goodbye over his shoulder. Tsunade sat down. "Nice boy you have there. Not stuck up and afraid to speak his mind like many others, even around someone like me. But I take it that he would not fear any repercussion, given his unusual tendencies." As Minato raised her eyebrow and looking towards her, "I'm curious. What exactly is he? She asks. What do you mean? Oh, don't give me that. That child is stronger than me. He's what, 17? And yet his strength dwarfed mine. We had a little competition, and even through that I can tell that he was holding back. I'm not sure how much, but he was. And the thing is, he doesn't have chakra. His muscles does not convulse. He does not strain. He's just unusual. So, what exactly is he? I asked once more. She said, time skip. It's been a while since she's been here. As Naruto made showing her around seem rather fun. As Shizune really missed the village. She was glad. Thank you, she said. As Naruto glanced towards her. Thank you for coming to find us and convincing Tsunade-sama to return back to the village. I was afraid to speak my mind. I've seen that you've noticed, she said. Because I just wanted her to be happy. You know, happy and all is good, but you can't afford to put your life on hold forever. I know, she said. Can you take me to see Lady Kushina? It's been a while, and I would love to see her again. You knew my mom as well, said Naruto. Of course. Well then, said Naruto, as they made their way. As they arrived towards the house, there was someone in the kitchen. As Naruto and Shizune made their way inside. Hey mom, look who's, as he paused to see, Lucy. As Lucy got up, Naruto-kun, she said, you're home. Yeah, said Naruto, surprised that she was here. She decided to pay me a little visit. Well, she was looking for you as well, but since that you weren't here, we were able to talk for the time being. However, you're right on time, said Kushina with a smile. Lucy glanced towards the girl with Naruto. Who is this? Oh, I'm Shizune. Kato, nice to meet you. Lucy took her hand and introduced herself with a smile. As Shizune glanced over, Kushina-sama, she said. Shizune? Is that you? Kushina said, surprised, as she really couldn't believe it. As she made her way over to talk to her. As both Naruto and Lucy decided to take a walk and make them catch up. So Lucy said, new friend? As Naruto gave her a look. What's with that look? Don't tell me that you're jealous, he said to her. Jealous? Oh please, she said. Why would I be? I knew you would never be unfaithful to me. After all, if you ever did, you knew what will be the repercussions. As Naruto glanced towards her. And what would they be? He asked. Oh, that's simple. I would use my fists and beat you up, she said to him, making Naruto chuckle as she punched him in the side. Ow, he said, stepping back away from her. She glared at him because she knew that he was just acting that way. As Naruto walked over and hugged her. Come on, he said. You know I love you too much. As do I, she said, as they shared a kiss. She's actually Tsunade's apprentice. However, she's a wonderful woman. And her being here is a new start. She's devoted most of her life to keeping Tsunade, well, happy. So I presume this means Lady Tsunade is back to the village. Yeah, said Naruto. It was not that hard to convince her. How did you? Well, I simply spoke from the heart. I guess I was able to get through to her, said Naruto. So, what's up, he asks. What? Can't I just stop by to see my boyfriend, she asks. Of course, said Naruto. But you know if you call I would be there, and besides, it's much easier for me to be there than you to come here, he said to her. Well, I had a pleasant time with your mother, so I don't really mind. She was showing me some of your baby pictures. As Naruto blushed in embarrassment. You guys really love to poke fun at me, don't you? Yes, it's rather amusing. As Naruto shook his head. Now, as for why I'm here, I was invited to a very exclusive ceremony, and I was wondering if you would join me. What kind of ceremony? Said Naruto. My title, she said to him. As Naruto looked towards her. I know that we've been seen by many, she said, but it's not fully public that the both of us are together. And I know you want me to be safe, but there are still many believing that they can prophesize me to be their wife, she said. I want them to know that I love you, she said to him. So this thing is basically a way for you to show me off, said Naruto. Like a piece of meat. Well, you're a fine piece of meat, she said, so I wouldn't mind. As the both of them smiled at each other. But to be serious, I want them to know, she said. Well, the only reason why we haven't been that much in the spotlight, despite the rumors, are... I know, she said. But you don't have to worry about me. I'm always protected, even from day one, so this will not change. I have enemies, said Naruto, and so do my family. And yet, it still worked. So, she said to him. Naruto smiled. Okay, he said. Besides, she said to him, if things ever get too bad, I'll just scream. I'm sure you will hear me. Well, I could never decline your call, said Naruto. As the both of them shared another kiss. With that, they made their way off. Time skip. Team 7 had returned back home. The mission was finished for them. Something was different. The whole team had been different. As Naruto was able to find out what happened, it turns out that a business typhoon Gato. The man business was up and up, but he had the underground dealings that he used to, prostitute women, trafficking, and all sorts of things. Team 7 had came out on top, but Mito had became really close to someone there. Someone that she believed could be saved from the life of darkness, but in the end, the person died. The understanding of a ninja truly hit her. Her and her whole team experienced that as they fought. It was life and death battles, but in the end they came out on top. The mission had been promoted to a A rank. The client had lied about the reason why he had taken them there. However, they still continue. Team 9 had been sent there as backup in the end, but when they arrived, everything was over. So with that, they came back to the village, better than ever, with a different resolve. It was actually a good thing because it helped them to determine the ninjas that they were going to be. Tsunade. She locked in where she was as Shizune was happy. She took over the hospital as she was building her medical core. Kushina and Tsunade had catch up as Tsunade came over for dinner. The both of them had talked and reminisced about the past, and things seemed to have returned back to normal. That is when Mito had told Tsunade about her friend. Her name was Sakura Haruno. She had excellent chakra control, and she would be a good part of the program. As Tsunade decided to look into it. At the moment though, as Naruto was walking out, he had somewhere to be. His sister caught up to him. Yeah, said Naruto. There is something I want to ask you, she said. What is it? It's Sasuke. What about him? Don't you like him or something? Mito asked. What are you talking about? Said Naruto. Even right now that he's here, you're leaving. I've noticed some patterns. It's like you don't want to be there when he's around. You're probably overthinking things. I have no problem with Sasuke. Besides, I'm good friends with his brother Itachi. As Mito thought about it, it has been bothering her, so she finally decided to say something. You know what? Maybe you're right, she said. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. You are, said Naruto. I really have no problem with your friends. I'm just really busy right now, he said, as he patted her on the head. I'll see you soon, okay? Oh, okay, she said, as Naruto left. He couldn't believe that she catch on to him. It wasn't just that he hated the boy. He didn't hate him, of course not. It was just, after what he had did, it was easier to be around Itachi but harder to be around him. Maybe it was because Itachi understood what would happen if Fukaku was not taken down. As Sasuke was placing guilt down on Naruto without even noticing, and it was hard to stay around him. So with that, he excused himself. However, one of the biggest problems yet was none other than a Viltrumite descended upon the elemental nation. They had spread around and one of them finally found. They finally found the elemental nation, unaware. However, this world was more populated than the others that they visit. Dark hair and dark eyes, looking like a standard Viltrumite. However, his skin was a bit grayish, like he was mixed with another race, but the Viltrumite DNA was taking over. The Viltrumites did not want to sully their DNA, so they only mate with things that are similar to them in genes. However, this race, it was unknown at the moment. However, Thrag was doing things behind the scene that not even the other Viltrumites knew about. This was one of the many older brothers of Naruto. His name was Duke. As he landed, freaking the people out as he did, there was a bunch of sound shinobis. As he stepped forward, "Who the hell are you?" one of them said. He turned towards him. The next thing the sound shinobi knew, his throat was grabbed as he was lifted up in the air. "I'm here for information," he said. There was a smile on Duke's face as he held the sound shinobi, as the others decided to attack. That made him smile. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace, guys.